Well, we meet again. Here I am. Brendon's blocking my light. Come on, Brendon. Here I am to talk about color. I love color in a home. I've talked about it many times before. These are going to be all my color tips, everything that I've kind of learned over the last 5 years of incorporating color into your home. And honestly, everything that I've learned over my entire life. Because when I was in 6th grade, my parents asked me and my sister what we wanted to do with our rooms. They let us do anything we wanted with our rooms, which is very kind of them. And I wanted my walls to be painted bright orange, similar to the color of this couch actually, with blue, pink, and green wooden circles cut out and hung on the wall like polka dots. And it was crazy and quirky. But also I was like a child. However, we did move to a new house and I stepped it up a notch and 2 of the walls were orange. 2 of the walls were a purple color, and then I still had all the polka dots hung up on the wall. And that was when I would have been like 15. So then my room looked like that in high school. Then I went on to paint it a ugly brown color. Then I went on to paint it white, but it was a cool toned white because I didn't know how to paint my room white. And at that time I actually was also kind of a minimalist. And so my room was a cool white tone and everything was white. Literally every single thing was white. All my sheets were white, my chairs were white, my dressers were white, the walls were white. And then I decided maybe I should incorporate a little bit of color, and I added little pops of yellow, just white with some little pops of yellow. And then I think later some green. And those were some choices. Those were some pre-house choices. Even when I moved here, I got a little bit crazy with my color. And now I'm in a place where I really like how much color I use, and I think it is not too much color. It's a perfect amount of color for me. I would like to experiment more with painting some of my walls colors and stuff, but for now they're all painted white and I do still really like that look too. And yeah, I feel like I've found a balance without it feeling too childish, but also not too boring. Now that we've covered my color credentials, let me give you my color tips. Starting off, let's talk about deciding what colors you want to incorporate in your house. How do you know what colors you're going to like? How do you know what colors to put in a room? How do you know what colors are going to look good together, etc., etc.? Firstly, ask yourself, what colors are you naturally drawn to? Do you wear colors in your clothing? That's just Zoe, don't worry about her. Do you wear colors in your clothing? Do you already have a colorful rug or a colorful piece of art that you really love, and what color tones are in there? I feel like there's many different ways to incorporate color. You can do muted tones, earthy tones, bright colors, whether you do just a little bit of color here and there, or if you wanted to do a lot of different colors and how to incorporate all that. Or what colors are you drawn to out in nature? You know, what color are your favorite flowers, or what colors have been your favorite colors in the past maybe. If you don't incorporate a color into your clothing and you don't consider a color that you like or haven't considered it one of your favorite colors in the past, you're probably not going to like it in your house. And I think the easiest way to incorporate color for starting off is to stick to a color family mainly, whether it be like muted tones to try and keep it more soft and elevated, or if you like bright colors, you can go for a bunch of bright pops of color in your room. Something that's been popular in interior design in the last few years is using primary colors, your red, yellow, and blue. And lots of people do it with bright colors. You can also do that with softer tones, but I think it's more commonly seen in bright color palettes, which this is just really fun. I mean, even when it does feel juvenile, having bright colors in your space still can be very fun. And I do like the look of it. But for me personally, I can't have too many bright colors in a room because it just starts to feel way too childish for me. I've learned over the years and I end up just wanting to change it. Also, if you're scared of color, I would say stick to tones of green. It already feels pretty neutral, so it's a pretty safe option to start with. And it really is a neutral out in nature too. Even incorporating green through plants is a really nice way to just add some color in a safe way. And obviously don't pick a color because it's trendy. Okay, I know that you're scrolling through TikTok and you're seeing all these colors that you're liking, these little pops of whatever's hot right now. And you're like, ooh, I want my room to be baby blue now because I saw this girl painted her room baby blue and it looks amazing, even though I've never even liked blue and I hated it last week. No, you're not gonna like that for a long time, okay? We all know you're either going to paint your room and have instant regrets, or you're going to like it for a few weeks and then be sick of it and need to change it. Particularly with celebrities, just because they have the money to do it, you hear about them changing their spaces all the time. I'm not going to roast anyone on here, but a particular podcast I'm thinking of, this person has interest in interior design and says that they are good at it and has an eye for interior design, but yet she happens to be renovating her house like every year or every second year. She's like, oh, we're redoing the kitchen this year again. And it's like, why? You just did it 2 years ago. Oh, but you don't like it anymore because you're just following trends. Okay, so don't just follow the trends. I know it's tempting because it looks cool online, but if you don't want to be buying new things all the time and feeling like you want to renovate your space again and again, stick to colors that you already know you like. The only thing about sticking to a certain type of color family, whether it be that you're trying to stick to more earthy muted tones, pale tones, bright colors, it can start to fall kind of flat. Same with when a room is just completely neutral. It just kind of feels like something is missing. And sorry, it feels like something's in my eye. And so that's why I would recommend even just having a little pop of something different, like a little bit of a contrasting color, an unexpected color. It can just be one item that can really bring the room to life with one little pop. And that little pop can even be black if you wanted it to. It could be a different type of metal that you don't have otherwise in your room, like something to just contrast everything else in the room, adds some interest to it. I'm like trying to look around my house and see where there's interest. Most of my tones are quite muted, but that being said, your color base also could just be neutral, I suppose. Like if you really don't like color and you're not interested in painting your walls, you're not interested in having any big pieces of color, you could keep things relatively neutral, but just add a little pop here and there with some simple things that are easy to change out, especially if you're scared to start off with color. You could add a little pillow, you could add a little lamp, you could add a little piece of art that has some fun color, or even if just the art frame is painted a different color is a very cool look. I have a picture upstairs in my bathroom that was just kind of like meh, and it wasn't really popping off the wall for me. It has a white border and then it has like a picture of water lilies, I think it is. It's a Monet like particle board picture. And so I painted the outside of it bright red, and then it just like really popped off the wall. And it was a little bit unexpected and completely changed how the art looked and felt in the room. Or if you want to go a bit bigger, you can even just paint a piece of furniture that you have. That's a safe way. You can always paint it back or remove the paint if it was wood and you want it to be wood again. Painting the edge of a mirror, painting a chair, simple things like that, little DIYs that can start making you comfortable with color and seeing what kind of colors you like. Another super safe way to bring some color in is just by bringing in colorful vases or even just colorful flowers. Start bringing in some different colored flowers that you like, and you can test out what kind of colors you like that way too. Even with me already having a colorful home, I find it's a really fun way to see what kind of colors you like, going to the store and picking out when you can get like a few different bouquets and put all the colors together and try and make a little mix and see what kind of colors you like. Even just looking around when you're walking out and about, or when you go over to a friend's home and seeing what kind of colors you like the look of together. I often get inspiration from houses when I'm out and about, just walking down the street and seeing what colors people have painted their houses and what colors their trims are. Or when someone's wearing like a cute outfit and you like the colors that are pieced together. You know, there's color all around you, so just like try and take more note of what you actually like and don't like, and then try and incorporate it in your own space. Like even if you are a neutral lover and you want to keep your walls relatively neutral and even your furniture relatively neutral and you like wood furniture and stuff like that, I honestly would say that my base of my home is pretty neutral, but then I've added lots of color in different ways. And even if you don't like as much color as I have in my house, just adding a little bit of color I think can really bring your space to life. With that being said, of course you also can get pretty crazy with it. You can get pretty crazy with your color and you can paint your whole room. Paint the whole room, the whole thing. A common way that people add color to their room is by adding an accent wall. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I really dislike an accent wall. It looks like you were uncertain and you didn't finish painting the whole room, or you've been painting the whole room white, let's say, like you started with these 3 walls and you just haven't gotten around to painting that last wall. It looks very unfinished and just kind of confusing and out of place, honestly. Although I will say with accent walls, sometimes they do look good if it's more of just a trim. I'm particularly thinking in my parents' house, we got them to paint this wall red. And it's kind of like a couple walls actually, but it's more of a trim color because it kind of goes around the kitchen and stuff. So it looks cool in that case because it's not just like 4 walls and one of them is painted a different color. It's kind of like an open concept room and then one of the sections almost is red, which looks good. So I think if you're going to paint your room, you really just got to go for it and either paint the whole room. You can even color wash it and paint the trim and the ceiling and the walls all the same color. That's not my favorite look. I've said it before, but to me it kind of looks like the primer. It makes the walls in the room fall really flat. I just prefer when there's some sort of contrast with a trim, even if the trim is just a slightly darker color than the walls or something like that. But if you don't want to paint all of the walls and paint the whole room one color, there's many ways to do it. You can either add a trim halfway around the room and just paint the bottom half, or even it can just be a third up the wall and paint the bottom half of that, like a small bottom trim. Or you can go 2/3 up the wall and have a small trim of white at the top and the majority of it is color, or you can even put trim around the edge of the ceiling and paint the ceiling. The only thing that I'm gonna say about doing a half wall or a quarter wall or whatever you're trying to do is that trim piece is really important. It kind of starts to feel like a teenage boy's room or just like a weird mural if you just put a tape line across the room and then remove the tape. It looks much nicer, much more elevated and complete if you add a little piece of trim around the room. And it can even just be a simple board, just a simple trim piece. That's what I did downstairs in our entryway. I just got a 1x3 or a 1x4 and nailed it to the wall and used that as the trim, and then painted the bottom 2/3 of the room green, because otherwise it just kind of feels awkward. Similar to the accent wall, it just kind of starts to feel like you didn't finish the room or something. The ceiling, I think you can get away with easier if you just want to paint the ceiling, but I do just think it looks better when there's some sort of trim piece or molding around to establish the paint line. And if you don't want to bring that much color into your room by painting all of the walls, another way to do it is just by painting the trim. This is one of my personal favorite ways of bringing some color into the room. I love a white wall with a painted trim, or even a colorful wall with a different colored trim. I love painting trim. I love a contrasting trim. I don't know why, it just really does something for me. Something for the old eyeballs. It does still take a long time because you have to paint it with a brush and you have to tape the trim so much, so it is kind of annoying. But if you want your walls to be white but do want to bring color in, it's a really good way to do that. And especially if your room is kind of darker and you don't want to darken it with a paint color and you want it to still be white and bright in the room but also colorful, I think the trim's a really good way to do that. I honestly want to paint all the trim in my house. And my only pro tip about painting the trim is that if you're going to paint the trim around a door, you should paint that door the same color as your trim. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I'll say it a million times more. Paint the door the same color as the trim. I've learned this mistake from personal experience. It looks good sometimes. I've seen some photos where it looks good. You can sometimes get away with it if the trim is white and the door is a color, but I just do think it looks better, and yet again, it looks more complete if you paint the trim and the door the same color. You don't even necessarily have to paint the rest of the trim in the room. If you just want to paint the door, that's fine, but paint the trim around the door as well, is what I would say, in my personal opinion. In my humble opinion. Paint the door and the trim, please. The only time that I would say you don't really have to do that is if you have wooden trim. Like sometimes you'll have wood trim, but the door won't be wood, which I do prefer that the door be wood, but if it's not, I think since wood is such a neutral, you can get away with the trim being a different color. And if you do have wood trim and you want to paint the door or the room or whatever it is, some colors that I think look really good with wood tones that I would recommend are like a butter yellow, a swampy green, of course. That looks good with everything though, so who are we kidding? A different shade of brown. I really like that, especially if your trim is a dark brown stain. Having like a almost beige color looks really good with that. Or a nice blue, a nice like slate blue, pale blues. Those are the blues that I prefer. I think those look really good with wood too. I'm sure there's lots more. I mean, really any color looks good with wood, but those are some of my top ones. And the last thing that we need to talk about is wallpaper. Now, I don't have a lot of experience with wallpaper. Just lean back and relax. I don't have a lot of experience with wallpaper, but I do love wallpaper. I wish I had more experience with wallpaper. I just haven't gotten around to it. And also wallpaper is actually quite expensive. So I just have never used it. I have never wanted to wallpaper a room bad enough that I've done it yet. But I really do love wallpaper. There's so many good ones nowadays, peel and stick, renter friendly. You can find tons and tons of different patterns and tons of different colors. I'm pretty sure you can even custom make your own wallpaper on lots of websites nowadays. And just the same deal with painting. I would say wallpaper the whole room. Don't just wallpaper one wall if you're going to wallpaper it. You need to wallpaper the whole room. It makes it look much better. And if you are wanting to use wallpaper, but you don't want to wallpaper a whole room, whether it be because it's expensive or just because it's too overwhelming or you're scared you're not going to like it, rather than doing an accent wall with it, you can take your big blank wall and make a giant piece of art with the wallpaper. Stick the wallpaper up in a rectangle section, whatever section you've got, and put some trim around it. It could be wood trim or a painted trim, any type of trim. Put it around that wallpaper that you've stuck on the wall, and then it just looks like a giant piece of art. It's a really cool art hack, whether you love wallpaper and want an accent wall, but you shouldn't do an accent wall, or you're looking for a giant piece of art that's affordable. That's a good way to do it. Those are all my tips on incorporating color, guys. And personally, I just find a space much more lively and inviting and exciting and fun and cozy even when it has color in it. When you're out in nature, you don't really see anywhere that doesn't have color, except for maybe when all the grass is like dead and stuff, you know, when everybody's like, oh, it's really brown outside today. It's funny that in nature, when there's no color, we'll be like, oh, yuck. But then in our houses, we don't want any color included. Like if you walked outside and there was no color, it would be feeling pretty bland and spooky. So I just kind of feel like we're meant to be around color. It could be energizing or calming and just make you feel all certain types of ways. So that's why I love having color in a space. And one of the reasons I actually was inspired to make this video is because I was just in Mexico City and they have color all over the place, guys. Not only did they have color all over the place, but they had my favorite colors all over the place. We're talking deep reds, we're talking swampy greens, we're talking tons of butter yellow. Truly my favorite colors. Painted all over the place. All the buildings are different colors. I don't know why in Canada we decide to make so many of our buildings either white, brown, gray, or black. Maybe the odd brick building, but otherwise it's just all boring, neutral colors. And we should incorporate some more color. Take a note out of Mexico City's book. But yeah, I did just get back from a trip from Mexico City. It was my 30th birthday trip with my friends. We had an awesome time. It was a really cool city. Lots of exploring to do over there. There's so much culture and history. Lots of like European influence and lots of history there and all these sorts of things and beautiful architecture. It was pretty amazing. And obviously also some really, really good food and some good hangs with my friends, which was nice. And I'm actually off to Japan soon, which is going to be so much fun. So I'm not sure if I'm going to have videos up for the next few weeks. If I do, I'm thinking they're going to be pretty casual. I'm thinking some fun little cool casual vlogs, maybe some bagel making, maybe a packing video for Japan. I have been thrifting lots recently. I've been buying new clothes. I'm kind of trying to flip my wardrobe because I feel like with my closet clear out, I discovered that lots of my clothes aren't fitting how I want them to fit. And also I just don't have a lot of clothes that I would like to have. Like even when we went to Mexico City with the girls, I'm like, oh, I don't even have like a nice tank top that I can wear. I only have like plain basic tank tops. But it's because I literally go to work, I work out, and I'm wearing my chilling clothes. Those are like my three main activities. I rarely go out on the town. I rarely have like a fancy outfit that I'm wearing. Maybe if I go out for coffee on the weekend, I put a cute outfit together. But if I go for coffee on a weekday, I wear my work clothes because I'm on my way to work. So I just never would get an opportunity to test out wearing cute outfits and stuff. So maybe I'm gonna try and get into fashion a little bit more. And so I've been shopping. I've been shopping around. I've been checking out the thrift stores, seeing what they got for me, trying out new types of tops. We'll see how much I actually wear the new types of tops that I got. I got a pretty girly one. And I think it looks good. I like how it looks. And Brendon seems to really like it, but I don't know. It's pretty feminine, if you ask me. Pretty girly, if you ask me. So stay tuned for that. Maybe we'll talk about my new clothes and stuff in an upcoming video. But I'm probably not going to be talking about much home stuff for the next little while. And maybe I'll do a Japan vlog. Maybe I'll do a little Japan travel vlog. Let me know. Comment down below, guys. Let me know if you'd be interested in a Japan vlog because I'm not amazing at travel vlogging. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I do have a funky little travel tripod that I could take around and tour around the town with us. I'm just not very like artsy when it comes to filming and stuff. Like I'm not taking nice shots and stuff like that, but I mean, the only way to learn is to start doing it. So maybe I'll do a Japan vlog. Anyway, stay tuned, guys. I'm making videos for every Thursday, and I'm really hoping that I'm still going to be able to get them up for you while I'm gone. But if not, then please bear with me. And I'll be back before you know it. And if I do, then, well, see you next Thursday. And the Thursday after that, and the Thursday after that. Oh yeah, and we have Zoe here. She's snoring in the corner here if you can hear her snoring. And we got Brendo over here. He's watching the hockey game. Making noise, being annoying, you know. Oh no, his team's losing. Oh no, he just went like this. They just scored. Now it's 1-1 for Montreal, Boston. Brendon loves Montreal. That's his favorite team. In case anyone was wondering, in case I got any hockey bros out there. But yeah, we got Brendon watching hockey. We got Zoe snozzing over here. Brendon and I are probably going to make some dinner tonight, some falafel bowls or something fun like that. And I need to pack tomorrow because I'm on my way to Japan. Funny enough, my sister and her husband actually just got back from Japan today. We couldn't overlap like the way the timing worked out because my brother-in-law went for work and stuff. So anyways, we're going to see them tomorrow and then we're leaving the next day, which is so funny. But anyway, that's all I got to report. I'm going to go hang out with Zoe and Brendon, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, suckers. And go add some color to your house.